Hello, we're doing a Q&A video. We got loads of questions on YouTube and we thought we'd collate them and also ask our followers on Instagram and Patreon. We've collated them all together, sort of made a list of ones that overlap, and hopefully we'll be answering the majority of them. So how do you all know each other?
Unfortunately, I'm related to him. And me, Wilf and David all grew up in the same village. Then
And
Wilf
I'm
went to secondary school with Ben, and then I moved to that secondary school in sixth form, and that's how I know Ben.
What were you all doing before this trip?
So before this trip, we all did a variety of jobs, and we changed jobs as well whilst we were preparing for this trip, so we could all be based down in Falmouth. Before the trip was COVID, and then in between COVID and the when we actually set sail, we were just all about boats. So we were living on boats and doing up boats to get this whole adventure started.
Whose idea was it, and how did you convince the others?
For Will's 16th birthday, I bought him this book. We'd been talking about boats and sailing and watching various videos, and I bought him How to Sail Around the World by Hal Roth. Great book, I'm sure we've said it before. Yeah, and that sort of started it as an idea.
Plenty of trips to the pub, I think, led to us being here. It being an idea, and then drunkenly it becoming an idea, and
It
then
took a while of working them down. Like there was a lot of like, look, we can actually do this. Here's an example of someone else who's doing it, similar age to us, no money as well. Like just chatting about it, and we went to the pub enough, and then we bought a boat off someone at the pub.
It is his fault.
yeah, it's his fault.
Shard.
Who would win in a fight?
It depends on the day.
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
sitting out. I know I'm losing.
You can decide.
Yeah.
You tell us.
Oh, ref. How long were you planning on playing the trip before pulling the trigger?
So we moved down to Falmouth in 2021. No idea that we wanted to do the boat thing. We're just moving down there for cheap rent, effectively. We were there for maybe 3 months to half a year without any sort of plan of doing it, and then for the latter 2 years, this plan was in the making. So we spent 1 year just for saving up, not really doing anything else, and then the second year we actually bought the boat and did the boat up for a whole year. So it was 2.5 years in the making before we actually left, and then now we've been going for 5 months. Since leaving Falmouth.
What's your favourite marine animal you've seen so far?
Does the birds count?
Yeah, I think marine
I really
ones
like
are
that booby we saw.
I
Which
bet
was,
you did.
which was a bird.
Yeah, we've seen boobies, we've seen tropic birds, whales, dolphins.
Yeah, I think the easy standout one for the collective was the last passage we did. It was maybe sort of day 5 into the passage between Canaries and Cape Verde. There were these 2 big whales, maybe 10 metres long. Not sure what whales they were, but they were
Size of the boat.
2 of them, and they were one off each after the boat, and they were following us for a long time, couple of hours, and they kept coming up to breathe, and their blowholes would make a big old noise and spray everyone in the cockpit with water.
Stink.
Which was really cool, very cool. It was a very
Yeah.
bizarre experience seeing these 2 big animals right next to your boat that are as big as your boat.
Have you done your tax returns yet?
No, Carolyn.
No.
No comment.
Yeah. Why did you choose sailing over backpacking?
I haven't got a backpack.
Yeah, I didn't really choose. I'm kind of just here. It was their idea to sail, so.
This is a pretty big adventure. I think the adventure aspect is as good as like the seeing places.
The challenge of it is important as well.
The idea of getting to different parts of the world just under sail power, you're not flying anywhere, is pretty cool idea.
Yeah, I guess we've taken ourselves everywhere we've been. You know, it's actually us that's brought ourselves there.
You appreciate where things are and how far things are away. Like we've seen every mile between here and Falmouth, and if you're backpacking and flying, you easily forget how far away you are and where you are, and yeah. So it's a completely different experience than backpacking.
What have you learned about yourselves and each other so far?
We probably knew everything that we know about each other before. It's just sort of cemented in.
I didn't know what the shape of your head was.
Yeah, I think we've all probably learnt quite a lot about ourselves.
For me, it's learning that I can do something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was very good at saying no to opportunities before COVID. Yeah, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do something like this, and I've got this far, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of resolve and what's the word, resilience that I've either learnt that I have or have picked up since doing this. Don't know. Life sort of seems easier.
Simpler.
Yeah.
I've learnt that you two both sometimes talk in your sleep. How often do you wash yourselves and your clothes?
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Not nearly enough.
When we can. Swim in the sea a lot.
How much did you pay for the boat?
£7,500.
Mm-hmm.
British sterling.
British sterling, 7.5 racks.
Good deal, to be fair, for what she is.
Cracking.
What do you know about the boat's history?
We know quite a lot about the boat. Luckily, we got a mountain of paperwork when we bought the boat. We had an absolute mountain of paperwork that we've been through.
We've still got it somewhere.
Yeah, we still got it on board. We know some of the previous owners, not all of them. It's quite a well-known boat within the Nicholson 32 community. A man called Oliver Roon.
Good.
He was from in and around Falmouth. So when we were doing the boat up in Falmouth, we met a lot of people that knew him personally or knew of
The
him.
boat as well.
Had even sailed on our boat before we'd bought it. Yeah.
He wrote lots of articles about where he'd been in the boat and things he'd done to the boat as well. She went upside down once, we know that.
What sailing experience did you have before?
Not a lot.
For me, none. This is the second boat I've ever been on, and the first boat was our mates in Falmouth, maybe the week before we bought this one.
I probably had the second to least. I went on a holiday once with a mate. He had a boat. He taught me how to sail.
Hi Mondo.
Hi Mondo, shout out. Shout out Mondo and his dad. This is your fault, we're here.
Me and Will have both been sailing a few times on holidays and the like, and I had my day skipper ticket.
Positively, we had very little, and we learnt a lot of it ourselves through books and YouTube and other people in Falmouth who taught us. It's also worth noting we had access to an Enterprise sailing dinghy back in Falmouth, one of the early days boats we'd ever been on.
Thank you, May and Dan.
Yeah, it was May's boat, but she stored it next to our boat, so we used it more than her. And it's if you know what it is, it's a 12-foot sailing dinghy. All four of us constantly were in it, sailing up and down the river, learning the actual basics of sailing, learning how sailing works as a concept, and then that just got scaled up when we got Morning Sky to, because it's all the same, just in different sizes, from Penryn to the pub all the way down the river at the front a few times, well, quite a lot of times. So yeah, that was also another way we learned quite a lot.
Did you have any expectations for the trip? No, none. I had no idea what I was getting into.
Expectations? We never really put any expectations on ourselves. We just sort of said we'll get to the next place, We knew we wanted to sail as far as we could. We knew we didn't have much money, and yeah, I don't think we had any real expectations. Caribbean's always been like the elusive target that everyone talks about. They're going to the Caribbean, and I think, that's always been the big goal anyway.
How long would it take you to eat a whole supermarket worth of food together?
A whole supermarket worth of food.
Yeah.
23 aisles.
2 years and 87 days.
Yeah, it's a couple of years.
Yeah, I think
16 hours and 13
year and a
minutes
half.
as well.
There's a lot of rice.
I'll crack on with the booze.
Yeah, there's a lot of alcohol to be done.
We can do a category
Dog
each.
food.
Boiled
Dog
rice
food.
and vodka, I guess that's on that. Vodka
Spurs.
rice. It's
A
good.
while.
I reckon 2.5 years.
A while.
What roles do you all have aboard?
Don't really have roles. We're a socialist boat. For the most part, like 90% of the jobs on board, everyone has done, and everyone does do. It's just sort of who's in bed at the time, who's feeling it at the time. Yeah.
It's kind of the beauty of having 4 people on board is you never need all 4 people. So it's like we're always just swapping out roles, and you just got to crack on.
Yeah.
Whatever's best for the boat is what you do. So,
Yeah.
how long do you plan to sail for, and what's the route for, I guess, this year?
Don't know. We don't have a time frame, really. We're just sort of taking it as it comes. We don't have a route other than we want to go to Tobago in the Caribbean and work our way up. Apart from that, not sure.
We kind of plan port to port, so whenever we get to the next place, we then think about where we're going to head next. That's kind of the way this boat works. Sketchy situation.
My scariest moment was when we were going between Ushant and Brest. We got the tides wrong. Luckily they were going in our direction, but We were sort of going sideways, getting flung out into the Atlantic at 7 knots. That was the first time we've ever felt not in control. Like the sails weren't doing anything at that point. We were just getting sent. Yeah, that was probably the sketchiest for me.
Ras de Seine.
Yeah, Ras de Seine's no joke.
Be careful when they say the Ras de Seine. It's got ripping tides. It does.
We learnt a lot that day.
Yeah.
We learnt a lot.
The lightning in the Biscay was for me, just purely because it was like, I know that we didn't know what the fuck was going on when we were in the Ras de Seine, but it was even more scary when we were watching something coming towards us, and it was like getting closer and closer, and it was almost imminent that it was going to be on top of us. So yeah, being caught in lightning on the Biscay.
My sketchiest situation would probably be when we almost dragged into a sea wall in Porto Santo.
Porto Santo.
That was probably the sketchiest moment for me, because
I
that
forgot.
like required the most immediate action of anything that's
That's
happened
true.
so far.
Yeah, you
That's
did
the closest
helm us
we've-
out of that as well.
Yeah.
You saved the boat.
Closest we've been to crashing, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah.
Who's the best chef and the worst sailor?
Ben.
What preparation did you do before leaving?
It depends what you mean by preparation. In terms of boat work, we did a hell of a lot. We had a whole year of doing work on the boat. There's a bit more of an in-depth video back in the day, one of our first ever videos. I think it's
You
literally our second
Click
video.
a thing in the top corner. I'm sure you can do that on YouTube.
Yeah, well, literally our second video is about us talking about what we've done to the boat. We've done a lot more since then. Preparation with ourselves, not much. Sailing experience, not much.
Just work a job until you got bored and then quit.
Yeah,
I bought a Guy Cotton PVC jacket.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't buy a jacket. Sorry, mum and dad.
I got a second-hand hand-me-down Salopets. Yeah, not a lot of preparation, I think, is the overriding.
Are you happy with the current setup? And is there any changes that you want to make in the future?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I'm
Like,
happy.
there's lots of work still to do. There always is. There's lots of little things that I'd change, but
Bow thruster.
big 10-foot bowsprit and another pole.
Yeah.
Bigger boat.
Bigger spin, bigger boat. There are lots of things that we have changed and improved about the boat, but I think we've just got better at sailing, which is probably where, the reason we're more happy with it now than we were when we left.
I think as we're speaking, unless without fundamentally changing the boat, I don't think there's anything I would change.
Yeah.
Beyond a bigger boat, it's like, what the fuck else can we do?
It would be
really?
nice though. I guess that's kind of one of the beauties of being skint and trying to do this, is you're very happy with what you've got and you get used to it. So I think we're all pretty content with the boat right now.
Boat's great.
Yeah.
Best boat in the world.
Why are you always sailing in your pants? I don't know.
Dunno.
Don't know what you mean.
Don't know what
I'm
you're talking
not
about.
sure.
Anything you would have done differently?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that question's so big, I don't think we can
Yeah.
answer it properly in the video, but a planning aspect and the boat aspect, I don't think there's much I would change. At the end of it, we were over planned, I think. Like, we were looking too much into paperwork, we were looking too much into safety, and at that point we just had to go. Like, the preparation there was amazing. The journey, well, we would do so much differently. Now we've seen the places, now we know how the rest of the world works towards sailors. Yeah, just how I would spend my time, I would change. There's lots of places that I'd have rather missed and just gone straight to the places that I enjoyed, but you're never going to know that until you do it.
To do it, yeah.
And I think now a 4-day passage is nothing for us. When we started, it was, right, we can't go for more than a couple of days, and we sort of, there were definitely places that we stopped in that we didn't need to. Like Cadiz and Porto and all these great cities that we didn't get to stay in for very long. In reality, we could have stayed in them for a bit longer if we
Gone straight to Madeira.
if we timed the trips differently, we could have.
Well, we think about it, like, you're right, we spent like 3 weeks up in the north of France and Brittany way, going into Brest and checking in. We would have gone from Falmouth to A Coruña probably.
Yeah, if we did that a bit again, I think we'd have just gone straight to A Coruña.
Save a month, spend it elsewhere in places that we've been to now and would love to stay in.
Yeah.
Morning skies, electrical systems.
That's a question. Very basically, we can do an in-depth thing if you actually want one. But we've got 2 big solar panels that add up to 350 watts. We've got a big lithium battery that's 230 amp hours, and that sorts us out for all our power. We have an alternator on the engine, so if the engine runs, it charges our leisure. And yeah, that's our system. We've got a solar panel system, no other way of making electricity, and it's doing us all right. But then we've only just started putting load on it. But like now we've got our new tiller pilot and our fridge. we're now actually testing our system, and we can actually tell you in the future like how it's performing. But until now, we haven't been really using much electricity because we don't have anything to use. If there's loads of nerds that do really want an in-depth video of how our electric works, like, we can make one.
He'd love to.
We'll get Charlie Stringer to come and
Yeah.
film a video in the Dominican.
Charlie can draw you up some diagrams or something.
How much storage do you have on board?
Like, way more than you think.
You can get 24 beers in the build.
You can fit 8 in the fridge. You can fit 24 in the pots and pans cupboard.
Mhm.
Basically, under every berth is storage. One of the big challenges is trying to have enough food to go across and basically be able to go for 30 days without needing, without being able to get any more food on the boat. That and water are the big ones. Water, we've got 220 litres in 3 tanks right in the bottom of the bilges, which we've said have caused us so much hassle. We carry probably a total of 500 litres of water in all the bags and bottles and bladders when we're completely maxed out. Food, you just find.
Yeah, we can comfortably
Every cupboard.
store 4 weeks worth of tins in the cupboards. We don't carry hardly at all much diesel because no matter in big passages, no matter how much diesel you have, you're never going to have enough to get you where you need to be. So we have about 100 litres of diesel on board. Got about 20 kilos of gas.
We'll be very grateful for it.
We use it.
Yeah.
If you want to see how our boat's packed out, we did a boat tour video that shows you what's in every cupboard.
Most of those cupboards have been repacked with food.
Yeah.
Most challenging moment and happiest memory.
I wouldn't say there's been a particular singular moment that's challenging. I think it's more like the things you'd expect to be challenging, like living in a contained space, the fact that, we all kind of have to move as one unit, we're very beholden to each other a lot of the time. I couldn't say, put one moment where I was like, that was really challenging.
My most challenging moment was being in Cadiz, and it was, nothing to do with sailing, it was just me having to go, hey guys, I need help, and, everyone was very helpful, because there were lots of things I wanted to do, and I, was struggling a bit with lots of things, so that was very challenging, to actually sort of stop being jokey, fun time mates and be serious, helpful mates, but
I think mine's probably on the same page. Mine's probably on the same page as that. Recently as well, like literally this week. Just the challenge is just dealing with your headspace when it's constantly a trip of you and your mates, and it can go from being happy to one day it's like, oh no, I am actually really struggling. Realising that and asking for help is a challenge, but it's good to do.
I think my most challenging moment was actually the 2 weeks before we left Falmouth, the start of the trip. I kind of went into hyperdrive where I realised oh god, we're actually doing it, and you're thinking about every last little bit about the boat. Have I done this? Have I done that? And even though I'm not at all, I felt very responsible because I was like, I've got these boys to do this, and if anything goes wrong, I feel very, I don't know, it was horrible. I felt very anxious for the whole 2 weeks. But you just overthink everything. You just think have we done this? Have we done this? That was a whole year of prep, and it's you only, we didn't know everything, so it was have we done that? Have we done that? And the idea of going to a new country on your own boat was just so crazy. Yeah, it hasn't been that hard. All the things we were worrying about didn't need worrying about, but until you do it, you don't know. So yeah, I think before leaving, them weeks was super challenging. I think my happiest memories. My happiest moment as a team is every time we get somewhere after a passage. I think it's such a amazing feeling that you can't really explain, but that feeling of accomplishment, you get somewhere after 7 days at sea and you'll just do a sigh of relief and everyone just goes whoom, and it's that feeling of you on your own with your own power, no one else helped you. You four have just sailed every mile between there and there, and you got somewhere new, got to a new country, new landmass, whatever. That feeling is never going to get old. That's so cool.
New Year's Eve, I know it was really recent, but that was really just very lovely.
Big blowout with the boys.
Yeah.
There's been a few. The most recent one that I can put my finger on is on the passage down from Canaries to the Verdes. We were all on the bow of the boat on deck, looking at a bunch of dolphins, and had the tiller pilot steering the boat, and it was nice to take a break from steering for a bit and all just hang out and really take in and appreciate the fact that we were on our boat, just crossed into the tropics,
Yeah.
Like the sun was beaming, there was wildlife everywhere. Yeah, it was. I just sat back and sort of looked at everyone else and was like, yeah, we're doing this. This is sick.
My happiest memory would be when people have like come out to visit. It's nice to like be able to share your achievements with people, you know, and also it kind of gives you a perspective on how far you've come as well when someone comes out to see you.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoyed Dad coming out in Tenerife. That was like probably one of my favourite bits of this so far. Yeah.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Dad.
Right on. Thank you for watching. Those are the majority of the questions that we got asked. We hope that we did them justice. If you've got any more, send them our way. We'll be answering comments and stuff whenever we have Wi-Fi. And if we get loads and loads and loads that are different to these, then maybe we'll do another questionnaire video. You know? Bye.
Cheers.